The first time I should have known my marriage was over was when Lauren told me her family's weekend plans were more important than my father's funeral. But like most guys who think love conquers all, I made excuses. Dad would have understood, I told myself. Family comes first, right? Wrong answer, Ethan. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. My name is Ethan Ward, and I'm an aerospace technician at Boeing's Everett facility. 38 years old, decent looking enough that I don't scare small children, and apparently stupid enough to marry into the most entitled family in Seattle. If my marriage were a plane, the black box would show loss of cabin pressure due to in-laws on board. It's a Tuesday morning in March 2024, and I'm staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror of our Bellevue house. The same house Lauren insisted we buy because it was close to family. The same house where I've spent the last 3 years feeling like a guest who's overstayed his welcome. Ethan, hurry up! Lauren's voice cuts through the bathroom door like a buzzsaw. Barrett's picking me up in 10 minutes. Barrett, her brother, the real estate broker who treats me like I'm something he scraped off his Italian leather shoes. At 38, he's got the kind of aggressive confidence that comes from never being told no by mommy and daddy. I open the door to find Lauren adjusting her makeup in the hallway mirror. She's beautiful. I'll give her that. Blonde hair that costs more to maintain than my car payment, green eyes that used to look at me with something resembling affection, and a body that turns heads at the hotel where she works as an events director. Where are you going? I ask, though I already know the answer will annoy me. Family meeting. We're discussing the lake house renovations. She doesn't look at me when she says it. She hasn't looked at me much lately. What about dinner tonight? We made reservations at... Cancel them. She finally turns, and there's that expression I've grown to hate. The one that says I'm being unreasonable for expecting my wife to spend time with me. This is important, Ethan. My family decides these things together. What about your husband? Don't I get a say in anything? She sighs like I'm a child who doesn't understand how the world works. You're not a priority right now, okay? This is family business. Not a priority. The words hit me like a punch to the gut, but I keep my face neutral. I've gotten good at that over the years. Barrett's BMW honks outside, and Lauren grabs her purse. I'll be back late. Don't wait up. She's gone before I can respond, leaving me standing in our hallway like an idiot. Through the window, I watch Barrett barely acknowledge me with a dismissive wave before driving off with my wife. I pour myself coffee and sit at our kitchen table, staring at the stack of bills that somehow became my responsibility, while Lauren's paychecks go toward family investments I'm never consulted about. The mortgage, utilities, groceries, car payments, all mine. Her money disappears into whatever black hole the family calls business. My phone buzzes. Text from Nina, my coworker, and one of the few people who still talks to me like I'm a human being. Coffee after work? You look like you need it. Nina's 34, divorced, and has the kind of street smarts that come from growing up in South Seattle. She's also the only person who's called out Lauren's behavior to my face. I text back, definitely. Usual place? You got it. And Ethan? Stop looking like a kicked dog. It's depressing, the whole assembly line. Despite everything, I smile. Nina has a way of cutting through bullshit that I wish I'd learned years ago. The workday drags. I install navigation systems in 737s and try not to think about how my own life has lost all sense of direction. Around me, guys talk about weekend plans with their families, and I realize I haven't had a real weekend with Lauren in months. There's always a family event, a family emergency, a family decision that requires her immediate attention. At 5:30, I meet Nina at Starbucks on Highway 99. She's already claimed a corner table and ordered my usual, black coffee, no sugar. The woman knows me better than my wife does. You look like hell, she says by way of greeting. Thanks. You really know how to make a guy feel special. Cut the sarcasm and tell me what's wrong. And don't say nothing because you've been walking around work like someone stole your lunch money. I sit down and take a long sip of coffee. Lauren said I'm not a priority. Ouch! Nina winces. In those exact words? In those exact words. What brought that on? I tell her about the family meeting, the canceled dinner, the general feeling that I'm married to someone who considers me an inconvenient roommate rather than a husband. Nina listens without interrupting, which is one of her better qualities. When I finish, she leans back in her chair and studies me with dark eyes that miss nothing. You know what your problem is, Ethan? Enlighten me. You're too nice. You let them walk all over you because you think that's what good husbands do. But there's a difference between being supportive and being a doormat. So, what am I supposed to do? Start fights with my wife's family? You're supposed to grow a backbone, set some boundaries, make it clear that your marriage comes before their family drama. I want to argue, but she's right. Somewhere along the way, I became the guy who says, "Yes, dear," to everything and wonders why nobody respects him. It's not that simple, I say. It never is. But here's the thing. If you don't start standing up for yourself, this is only going to get worse. Trust me, I've been there. We talk for another hour, and by the time I drive home, I'm feeling something I haven't felt in months. Angry. Not sad, not disappointed. Angry. And maybe that's exactly what I need. The house is dark when I pull into the driveway. Lauren's car isn't there, which means she's still at her family meeting at 9 o'clock at night. I check my phone. No messages. I heat up leftover pizza and sit in front of the TV, but I'm not really watching. I'm thinking about Nina's words, about priorities, about the fact that my wife just told me I don't matter. At 11:30, Lauren finally comes home. She's got that flushed look she gets when she's been drinking, and she's carrying a small gift bag from some expensive store I can't afford. How was the family meeting? I ask. Fine. She doesn't elaborate, just heads toward the stairs. I'm tired. Going to bed. What's in the bag? She stops, and for a second, she looks almost guilty. Just something Barrett picked up for me. A thank you gift for helping with the lake house plans. That's nice of him. I keep my voice neutral, but inside, alarm bells are ringing. Since when does Barrett buy Lauren gifts? She disappears upstairs, and I hear the shower running. I sit there in the dark, staring at the ceiling and wondering when my marriage became something I had to investigate rather than enjoy. My phone buzzes. Text from my buddy Manny, who tends bar at a place downtown. Saw Lauren and some guy at the hotel bar tonight. Looked pretty cozy, thought you should know. I stare at the message for a long time. Manny's known me since high school. He wouldn't text something like this unless he was sure. Some guy. At the hotel where Lauren works, looking cozy. I delete the message and head upstairs, but I don't go to bed. Instead, I sit at my computer and do something I never thought I'd do. I start looking into my wife's activities. Her credit card statements show charges at restaurants I've never been to, stores I've never heard of, and gas stations nowhere near her usual routes. Her phone, which she's started keeping locked, buzzes constantly with messages she never explains. By 2 a.m, I've made a decision. If I'm not a priority in my wife's life, maybe it's time to start making myself a priority in my own. I open a new browser window and start researching divorce lawyers. The next few weeks pass in a blur of careful observation and growing suspicion. I've become a detective in my own marriage, and I don't like what I'm discovering. Lauren's family meetings happen 3 times a week now, always in the evening, always requiring her to dress up like she's going to a cocktail party, rather than discussing renovations with her brother. She comes home with gifts, jewelry, perfume, clothes, that she claims are from grateful clients at the hotel. I start documenting everything. Times she leaves, when she returns, unexplained expenses, mysterious phone calls that she takes in another room. It feels pathetic. But Nina's right. I need to know what I'm dealing with. On a Thursday evening, I decide to follow her. Lauren tells me she's meeting Barrett and their mother Janelle to discuss catering options for some family event. She's wearing a black dress that cost more than I make in a week and enough perfume to choke a horse. "Don't wait up," she says, kissing my cheek with the enthusiasm of someone pecking a relative goodbye. I wait 15 minutes, then drive to the Fairmont Olympic Hotel where she works. Her car is in the employee parking lot, but instead of going to the conference rooms where family meetings would logically happen, I see her heading toward the bar. The hotel bar is dimly lit and expensive, the kind of place where a beer costs $20 and comes with a side of pretension. I find a corner table with a view of the main seating area and order a whiskey I can't afford. Lauren is sitting at a high-top table near the windows, but she's not with Barrett or Janelle. She's with a guy I recognize from family gatherings, Trent, Barrett's cousin by marriage. He runs a car dealership in Kirkland and has the kind of sleazy charm that works on women who confuse confidence with character. They're sitting close, closer than family members should sit. Trent's hand is on Lauren's knee, and she's laughing at something he said with genuine pleasure, the kind of laugh I haven't heard from her in months. I watch them for 2 hours. They drink expensive wine, share appetizers, and touch each other constantly. The way married couples do when they're still in love. When they finally leave, they don't go together, but the timing is suspicious. Lauren heads toward the parking garage while Trent goes to the lobby. I follow Lauren, keeping my distance, and watch her drive not toward home, but toward the lake house the family supposedly owns together. I don't follow her there. I don't need to. I know what I'd find. Instead, I drive home and sit in my kitchen, drinking beer and staring at my phone. I should confront her. I should demand an explanation. I should do something other than sit here like a coward. But I don't. Instead, I start planning. The next morning, Lauren is cheerful in a way that makes my stomach turn. She hums while making coffee, kisses my forehead, and asks about my day like she actually cares. "How was the family meeting?" I ask. "Productive. We decided on the catering menu." She doesn't meet my eyes. "Barrett thinks we should go with the salmon option." "That's great." I finish my coffee and grab my lunch. "I'll be working late tonight. Big project timeline." It's a lie, but she doesn't question it. She's probably relieved. At work, Nina takes one look at me and steers me toward the break room. "Okay, spill. You look like someone ran over your dog." I tell her about last night, about Trent, about the lies that are piling up faster than I can process them. "So what are you going to do?" she asks. I don't know. Confront her? Hire a private investigator? Pretend I didn't see anything? None of those. Nina leans forward, her expression serious. You're going to be smart about this. You're going to protect yourself first, then figure out what you want to do about the marriage. What do you mean? I mean you need to start moving assets, documenting everything, and building a case. If this goes south, and it sounds like it already has, you don't want to be left holding the bag. She's right, but it feels wrong. Calculating. Like I'm giving up on my marriage before I've even tried to save it. I still love her, I say quietly. I know you do. But love isn't enough when the other person has already checked out. You need to protect yourself, Ethan, because I guarantee she's not thinking about protecting you. That evening, instead of working late, I drive to my bank and open a separate checking account. I transfer half of our savings, money I earned, money that legally belongs to both of us, but money I have every right to protect. Then I drive to a real estate office and start looking at apartments. The agent, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a no-nonsense attitude, shows me 3 places. The third one is perfect. A 1-bedroom condo in Redmond with a view of the mountains and enough space for a man starting over. It's a cash market, she warns me. If you want it, you'll need to move fast. I put down a deposit that night. Over the next week, I start making other preparations. I transfer my direct deposit to the new account. I make copies of all our important documents. I research divorce attorneys and find one who specializes in cases involving infidelity. Lauren doesn't notice any of this because she's too busy with her family obligations. She's out 4 nights this week, always with a different excuse, always coming home with that guilty flush and another unexplained gift. On Friday night, she tells me she's going to a work event, a client appreciation party at the hotel. She's wearing a red dress that I've never seen before and heels that add 4 inches to her height. Will you be home late? I ask. Probably. These things tend to run long. She checks her reflection in the hallway mirror, adjusting her necklace. Another piece of jewelry I didn't buy. Don't wait up. After she leaves, I call Manny. I need a favor, I tell him. Name it. Lauren's supposed to be at a work event at the Fairmont tonight. Can you swing by, see if there's actually a party happening? Give me an hour. An hour later, my phone rings. There's no party, Manny says. I checked with the concierge, looked around the event spaces, asked at the bar. Nothing happening tonight except the usual crowd. Thanks, man. I owe you. You don't owe me anything. But Ethan, whatever you're dealing with, be smart about it. Don't do anything stupid. I hang up and sit in the silence of my house, our house, and feel something shift inside me. The last piece of hope, the final thread of trust, snaps cleanly in two. Lauren is lying to me. Has been lying to me. And I'm done pretending I don't know it. I pour myself a whiskey and start making a list of everything I need to do. Bank accounts, credit cards, insurance policies, the house deed, car registrations, all of it needs to be protected or separated. By the time Lauren comes home at 2 a.m, smelling like expensive cologne that isn't mine, I'm ready. But I don't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I kiss her cheek and ask how the party was. Oh, she says, avoiding my eyes. Same old corporate stuff. Boring speeches, mediocre food. That's too bad, I say. Maybe next time will be better? She nods and heads upstairs, and I listen to her shower running for the second time in 6 hours. I finish my whiskey and start planning my revenge. 2 weeks later, I'm ready to spring my trap. I've moved most of our liquid assets to accounts Lauren doesn't know about, found and put a deposit on the condo, and documented enough of her lies to fill a small notebook. But I want more than just a clean divorce. I want justice. And justice, I've learned, sometimes requires a little creativity. The opportunity comes when Barrett calls me at work on a Tuesday afternoon. He's never called me at work before, which immediately puts me on guard. Ethan, we need to talk, he says without preamble. Can you meet me for coffee after work? What's this about? Family business. I'll explain when I see you. He suggests a Starbucks in Bellevue, neutral territory. I agree, but I also text Nina to let her know where I'll be and when. If Barrett's planning something, I want witnesses. I arrive first and claim a table near the window. Barrett shows up 15 minutes late, which I'm sure is intentional. He's wearing a suit that costs more than my monthly salary, and the kind of watch that screams, "I'm more successful than you." Thanks for meeting me, he says, settling into the chair across from me like he's doing me a favor. What's this about, Barrett? He orders a complicated drink from the barista, then turns back to me with what he probably thinks is a friendly smile. It's about family, Ethan. About being part of something bigger than yourself. Here we go. I keep my expression neutral and wait for him to continue. Lauren tells me you've been resistant to some of our family decisions lately. Such as? The lake house renovations, for starters. We're looking at a significant investment, and we need everyone on board. I wasn't aware my opinion was required for decisions about property I don't own. His smile falters slightly. That's exactly the attitude I'm talking about. You're part of this family now, which means you have responsibilities. And what responsibilities are those? Financial ones. We're looking at a $200,000 renovation loan, and we need co-signers, people with good credit and stable income. Now I understand. They want me to guarantee their debt while having no ownership stake in the property. It's brilliant in its audacity and insulting in its assumptions. Let me get this straight, I say slowly. You want me to co-sign a loan for a house I don't own, for renovations I wasn't consulted about, so your family can increase the value of an asset I'll never benefit from. That's a very selfish way to look at it. It's a very realistic way to look at it. Barrett leans forward, and his friendly mask slips completely. Listen, Ethan, you married into our family. That comes with privileges, but it also comes with obligations. We've been good to you. How exactly have you been good to me? We welcomed you. We included you. We treated you like one of us. I almost laugh. Is that what you call it? Because from where I sit, it looks like you've treated me like a walking ATM. That's not fair, isn't it? When was the last time anyone in your family asked my opinion about anything? When was the last time Lauren chose spending time with me over spending time with you? When was the last time I felt like I mattered in my own marriage? Barrett sits back, clearly not expecting this level of pushback. Marriage requires sacrifices, Ethan. Sometimes you have to put family needs ahead of personal wants. Whose family? Because it seems like Lauren's family always comes first, and I'm just the guy who pays the bills. You're being dramatic. Am I? Tell me, Barrett. Where is Lauren right now? He checks his watch. She's at work, I assume. Wrong. She's at the lake house with Trent, has been for the last 3 hours. The color drains from Barrett's face. That's impossible. She would have told me. Would she? Because she's been lying to both of us for months. I pull out my phone and show him the photos I took yesterday. Lauren's car in the lake house driveway, Trent's BMW parked beside it, the two of them visible through the kitchen window, sharing what looked like a very intimate conversation. Barrett stares at the photos for a long time. When he finally looks up, his expression has changed completely. This doesn't change anything, he says, but his voice lacks conviction. The family still needs... The family can go to hell, I interrupt. And so can you. I stand up to leave, but Barrett grabs my arm. His grip is tight enough to hurt, and several other customers turn to look. You don't walk away from family, he says quietly. We've invested too much in you to let you just disappear. Invested in me? Or invested in my credit score? Sit down, Ethan. We're not finished. Yes, we are. I pull my arm free and walk out, leaving Barrett sitting alone with his expensive coffee and his expensive problems. But I'm not really leaving. I drive around the block and park where I can see the Starbucks entrance. Sure enough, Barrett comes out 5 minutes later, talking rapidly on his phone. Even from a distance, I can tell he's agitated. I follow him at a safe distance. He drives straight to the lake house. This should be interesting. I park on a side road with a view of the driveway and wait. 20 minutes later, Barrett's BMW comes flying out like he's fleeing a crime scene. Trent's car follows a few minutes later, and finally, Lauren emerges looking disheveled and upset. She gets in her car and sits there for a long time, probably trying to figure out how much trouble she's in. Then she drives home. I beat her there by 10 minutes, just enough time to pour myself a drink and pretend I've been home all evening. Lauren comes through the door like a woman walking to her execution. Her makeup is smudged, her hair is messy, and she looks like she's been crying. How was work? I ask pleasantly. Fine. She won't look at me. I think I'm getting sick. I'm going to bed early. That's probably smart. You look terrible. She flinches like I slapped her, but she doesn't argue. She just heads upstairs, and I hear her on the phone, speaking in urgent whispers that carry through the thin walls. I don't try to listen. I don't need to. I know exactly what kind of conversation she's having with her family right now. My phone buzzes. Text from Barrett. We need to talk. This isn't over. I text back. You're right. It's just getting started. Then I call my lawyer and schedule an appointment for tomorrow morning. It's time to end this charade and start my new life. The next morning, Lauren is gone before I wake up. No note, no explanation, just an empty house and the lingering scent of her expensive perfume. Her car is gone, and when I check our joint account online, she's withdrawn $5,000 in cash. She's panicking. Good. I meet with the divorce attorney at 9 a.m. Patricia Hendricks is a sharp woman in her 50s with a reputation for protecting her clients' interests. Her office overlooks Elliott Bay, and she serves coffee in actual china cups instead of paper. "Tell me about your situation, Mr. Ward," she says after we've settled in her conference room. I lay out everything: the family's financial manipulation, Lauren's affair with Trent, the lies, the mysterious gifts, the attempt to get me to co-sign loans for property I don't own. She takes notes in a leather portfolio and asks pointed questions about our assets, debts, and the timeline of Lauren's infidelity. "You've been thorough," she says when I finish. "The documentation will help significantly. Washington is a no-fault divorce state, but adultery can still impact property division, especially when it involves financial deception." "What are my options?" "Several. We can file for divorce citing irreconcilable differences, seek an equitable distribution of marital assets, and given the evidence of her affair and the family's attempts at financial manipulation, we might be able to argue for a larger share of the marital property. How long will it take? If she contests it, 6 months to a year. If she doesn't, we could have everything finalized in 90 days. I write her a retainer check and walk out feeling lighter than I have in months. For the first time in years, I'm taking control of my own life. My phone rings as I'm driving to work. Lauren. "We need to talk," she says without preamble. I'm listening. "Not on the phone. Meet me for lunch. Giovanni's at noon." Giovanni's is an expensive Italian place downtown, the kind of restaurant where Lauren likes to be seen. Neutral ground, public space, witnesses if things get ugly. "Fine," I say, "but I have to be back at work by 1. This won't take long." I arrive first and request a table in the back corner. Lauren shows up 15 minutes later looking like she hasn't slept. Her usual perfect makeup can't hide the dark circles under her eyes, and her hands shake slightly as she sits down. "You talked to Barrett yesterday," she says without ordering anything. "I did. He told me about your conversation." "I'm sure he did." She fidgets with her wedding ring, turning it around and around on her finger. "Ethan, I think there's been some misunderstanding." "Stop." The word comes out harder than I intended, and she flinches. "Just stop, Lauren. Stop lying. Stop pretending. Stop treating me like I'm too stupid to see what's been happening. I don't know what you think you saw. I saw you with Trent. Multiple times. I know about the lake house visits, the fake family meetings, the work events that don't exist. I know about the gifts, the lies, the money you've been hiding." Her face goes pale. "It's not what you think." "Really? Then explain it to me. Explain why my wife has been sneaking around with another man for months. Explain why she comes home smelling like his cologne. Explain why she tells me I'm not a priority while she's prioritizing someone else." Lauren looks around the restaurant like she's hoping someone will rescue her from this conversation. When no help appears, she turns back to me with tears in her eyes. "I never meant for this to happen," she whispers. "But it did happen, and you chose to keep it happening." "It's complicated, Ethan. The family business, the financial pressures. Trent and I were just..." "Just what? Just having an affair? Just lying to everyone? Just destroying our marriage?" "It wasn't supposed to be an affair. It started as business meetings, discussions about investments, and then it became something else." "When?" "What? When did it start? When did you decide I wasn't enough for you?" She's crying now, mascara running down her cheeks in black streaks. 6 months ago. Maybe longer. I don't know exactly when it changed. 6 months. Half a year of lies, deception, and making me feel like I was losing my mind. Why didn't you just ask for a divorce? Because I thought I could handle both. I thought I could keep everyone happy. Keep everyone happy except your husband. That's not fair. Fair? I lean forward, keeping my voice low but letting the anger show. You want to talk about fair? Fair would have been honesty. Fair would have been respect. Fair would have been treating me like a partner instead of an inconvenience. I know I made mistakes. Mistakes? Lauren, you've been living a double life. You've been lying to me every single day for months. You've been stealing money from our accounts to fund your affair. You've been using me as a financial safety net while you explored other options. It wasn't like that. Then what was it like? Because from where I sit, it looks like you've been planning your exit strategy while keeping me around to pay the bills. She doesn't answer, which is answer enough. I want a divorce, I say quietly. Ethan, please, we can work through this. We can go to counseling, we can… No, we can't. You ruined this marriage, Lauren. You and your family and your priorities that never included me. Don't bring my family into this. Your family is already in this. They've been in this from day one. Barrett tried to pressure me into co-signing loans yesterday. Your mother has been calling me worthless for 3 years. Trent has been sleeping with my wife. They're not innocent bystanders. They were trying to help. They were trying to use me, and you let them. Lauren reaches across the table and grabs my hand. Please, Ethan, I love you. I know I screwed up, but I love you. I look down at her hand on mine, at the wedding ring that apparently means nothing to her, at the tears that might be real, but come too late to matter. No, you don't, I say gently. You love the security I provide. You love having someone to fall back on when your adventures don't work out. But you don't love me. I pull my hand away and stand up. My lawyer will be in touch, I say. Don't try to contact me directly anymore. Ethan, wait. But I'm already walking away, leaving her sitting alone with her tears and her regrets and the wreckage of the life she chose to destroy. Outside, I sit in my car for a few minutes, waiting for the emotional impact to hit. But it doesn't. Instead, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Free. My phone buzzes. Text from Nina. How did it go? I text back, it's over, finally over. Good. Want to grab a beer after work and celebrate? Definitely. I start the car and drive back to work, back to my real life, back to the future I'm going to build without Lauren and her toxic family. For the first time in years, I'm excited about tomorrow. 3 weeks later, Lauren's world starts falling apart in spectacular fashion. The divorce papers have been served, the assets are being divided, and I've moved into my new condo in Redmond. It's smaller than the house, but it's mine. No family photos of people who hate me, no expensive furniture bought to impress people I don't like, no constant reminders of a marriage that was doomed from the start. Lauren has been calling and texting constantly, alternating between apologies, threats, and desperate pleas for reconciliation. I've blocked her number and referred all communication to my lawyer, but Barrett hasn't given up. He shows up at my work on a Thursday afternoon, somehow talking his way past security to the factory floor. We need to talk, he says, appearing at my workstation like a bad rash. No, we don't. I don't look up from the navigation system I'm installing. And you're not supposed to be in here without clearance. This is important, Ethan. The family is in trouble. Not my family, not my problem. The lake house deal fell through. We need that co-signature on the loan, or we're going to lose everything. Now I do look up. Barrett looks terrible. Unshaven, wrinkled clothes, the kind of desperate appearance that comes from sleepless nights and mounting bills. That sounds like a you problem, I say. Don't be an ass. Lauren needs this. The family needs this. Lauren made her choice. She chose Trent and your family over her marriage. Now she gets to live with the consequences. You can't just walk away from family obligations. Watch me. I turn back to my work, but Barrett grabs my shoulder and spins me around. Several of my co-workers stop what they're doing to watch. You little piece of garbage, Barrett snarls. We welcomed you into our family, and this is how you repay us? Get your hand off me. Or what? You'll call security? You'll run away like you always do? Something snaps inside me. 3 years of insults, condescension, and manipulation boil over in an instant. Or I'll make you wish you'd stayed in your overpriced BMW and minded your own business, I say quietly. Barrett's eyes widen slightly. He's used to me backing down, used to me taking his abuse with quiet resignation. This is new territory for both of us. You don't have the balls, he says, but his voice lacks conviction. Try me. We stare at each other for a long moment. Around us, the factory floor has gone quiet. Even the machinery seems to be holding its breath. Then Barrett makes his mistake. He shoves me hard, trying to provoke a reaction that will get me fired or arrested. But I don't hit him back. Instead, I smile. Thanks, I say. I was hoping you'd do something stupid. What are you talking about? I nod toward the security cameras mounted throughout the factory. Everything in here is recorded. You just committed assault on federal property in front of 20 witnesses. Barrett follows my gaze and realizes what he's done. Boeing takes security seriously, especially in the manufacturing areas. Unauthorized personnel who commit assault don't get escorted out, they get arrested. You set me up, he says. No, Barrett, you screwed yourself, just like your family always does. Security arrives within minutes, followed by the police. Barrett is arrested for trespassing and assault, while I give my statement to a detective who looks like he's heard this story 100 times before. Domestic situation? He asks. Divorce, I confirm. Ex-brother-in-law who can't accept that his meal ticket is gone. They never can. You pressing charges? Absolutely. After Barrett is led away in handcuffs, my supervisor pulls me aside. You okay, Ward? I'm fine. Sorry for the disruption. Don't apologize. That guy was way out of line. He pauses. You might want to consider a restraining order. These family situations can escalate quickly. He's right, but I have a better idea. That evening, I call Manny and ask him to meet me at his bar. It's a dive in Georgetown, the kind of place where nobody asks questions and everybody minds their own business. Heard about the excitement at work today, Manny says, sliding a beer across the bar. Barrett got himself arrested? News travels fast. Nina called. She's worried about you. She doesn't need to be. I'm handling this. That's what worries her, and me, if I'm being honest. I take a long drink and look around the bar. It's early evening, and the usual crowd of construction workers and mechanics are unwinding after long days. Normal people with normal problems, not entitled rich kids who think the world owes them everything. I want to ask you something, I tell Manny, and I want you to think carefully before you answer. Okay. You've known me since high school. Have you ever seen me back down from a fight I didn't start? Manny considers this. No, but you've never been in a situation like this before. Exactly. And I'm not backing down now. What are you planning, Ethan? I'm planning to finish what they started, but I'm going to do it right. The next day, I start making calls. First to a private investigator who specializes in financial crimes, then to the IRS tip line, then to the Washington State Department of Revenue. It turns out that when you dig into the finances of people who live beyond their means, you find interesting things. Barrett's real estate business has some creative accounting practices. The family's investments include several properties bought with questionable financing, and Trent's car dealership has been reporting income that doesn't match his lifestyle. I don't have to make anything up or plant evidence. I just have to point the authorities in the right direction and let them do their jobs. Within a week, Barrett's business is under investigation for tax evasion. Trent's dealership is being audited by the State Revenue Department, and the family's lake house, the one they wanted me to co-sign a loan for, turns out to be collateral for several existing loans they've been hiding. Lauren calls me from her mother's house, crying hysterically. What did you do? She sobs into the phone. I didn't do anything except tell the truth, I say calmly. Your family's problems are their own making. Barrett might go to jail. Trent's business is ruined. The bank is foreclosing on the lake house. That's what happens when you build your life on lies and borrowed money. How can you be so cold? These are people you lived with, people who treated you like family. People who treated me like a walking ATM, you mean? People who never missed an opportunity to remind me that I wasn't good enough for their precious daughter. People who encouraged that daughter to have an affair because her husband wasn't providing the lifestyle they thought she deserved. That's not fair? Fair? Lauren, your brother assaulted me at my workplace. Your boyfriend has been screwing my wife for months. Your mother has been calling me worthless since the day we met. And you want to talk to me about fair? I never wanted it to happen like this. But it did happen like this. Because you made choices, and choices have consequences. What about us? What about our marriage? What marriage? You ruined it months ago when you decided Trent was more important than your husband. I made a mistake. You made a choice, and now you get to live with it. I hang up and block her new number. Then I pour myself a whiskey and sit on my balcony, looking out at the mountains and thinking about the future. My phone buzzes. Text from Nina. Heard about the family implosion. You okay? I text back, never better. Good. They had it coming. She's right. They did have it coming. And for the first time in 3 years, I'm not the one paying the price for their bad decisions. 2 months later, I'm sitting in the same bar where this all started, sharing a drink with Nina after work. The divorce is final, the assets are divided, and I've gotten a promotion at Boeing that comes with a significant raise. Lauren's family empire has crumbled completely. Barrett pled guilty to tax evasion and got 2 years probation, plus a massive fine. Trent's dealership went bankrupt, and he moved back in with his parents. The lake house was sold at auction to pay creditors. Lauren herself is working as a waitress at a chain restaurant, living in a studio apartment, and driving a 10-year-old Honda. She sent me one final letter, asking for forgiveness and a second chance. I threw it away without reading past the first paragraph. Any regrets? Nina asks. About the divorce? None. About how it ended? The revenge thing? I consider this. They spent 3 years treating me like garbage. They encouraged my wife to have an affair. They tried to use me financially and then threatened me when I refused. Barrett assaulted me at work. So no regrets. No regrets. They made their choices and I made mine. What's next for you? I'm thinking about buying a boat, maybe taking some sailing lessons. I've got time now that I'm not spending every weekend at family events where I'm not wanted. Sounds peaceful. It will be. We finish our drinks and head out into the Seattle evening. The rain has stopped, and for once, the sky is clear enough to see the stars. My phone buzzes one last time. Unknown number, probably Lauren with yet another attempt to contact me. I delete the message without reading it and put the phone away. Some chapters of your life end with dramatic confrontations and explosive revelations. Others end quietly, with a simple decision to stop participating in your own destruction. Either way, they end. And sometimes, that's the best revenge of all.